So you suck at WoW and want to get better. Good. That already puts you ahead of most players, because recognizing you can improve is the first step. Hey guys, I'm Killax, and I've been playing World of Warcraft for over 20 years. I've rated in top 3 to top 20 US guilds, earned multiple rank 1 titles in PvP and Mythic Plus, and right now I'm the #1 Virgin Collector in North America with over 97% game completion. But here's the truth, I didn't start out as some prodigy. I was bad, like stuck in Desolence for 2 months straight bad. I could not even figure out how to get out of that area for 2 months straight. The only difference, I never stopped learning. And today I'm going to teach you how to build that same mindset. The mindset that took me years to master. Before we begin, I'm going to go over something every single WoW player should know. Ever heard of SpellQueWindow? It's a hidden WoW setting that controls how early your next ability is queued. By default, Blizzard sets this to 400 MS, which is way too high for most players. That means that input lag, double casting, or weird delay in between spells can occur. You'll want to set this anywhere between 120 to 250 depending on your current MS. Here's how to find the perfect number. Take your ping, add 100, and round to the nearest 10th. For example, I get anywhere between 35 to 41 ping, so I'm always going to average it at around 40 ping. So I'll do 40 plus 100, which equals 140, and I'll set mine to 140. Now, if you're looking at the bottom left chat, I'm going to type in this macro, and it's going to show me my current SpellQMS. If I type in this other macro, followed by another number, it's going to change it, right? And if I type in to check it again, now it's at 150. So we're going to go back to 140 for now. We're going to check it again, make sure it changed. So my current SpellQueWindow MS is 140. This is, I find for myself, the perfect number. If you ever notice that your abilities are slow or sluggish sometimes and your ping or MS is constantly at an acceptable number, this might be the fix for you. This especially helps players in other regions, so if EU players play on NA or vice versa, changing this setting will drastically improve your gameplay. Let's dive into the most important piece of this entire guide, which is your mindset. Most players who hit a wall in World of Warcraft fall into a fixed mindset. You'll hear things like, I'm not good at PvP, I'm too old to learn this stuff, my class is bad, this sucks, I can't play this class, this boss is just RNG, this is bugged, this is hotfix, that's broken, this, that. This mindset is poisonous, okay? It builds mental ceilings and excuses, and the truth is, the best players in this game, they're not naturally gifted. They've just stuck with it far, far longer than the average player, and failed more productively. Now compared to the growth mindset, which sounds more like, I don't understand this yet. What could I have done differently? How can I improve for next time? Can I rewatch that clip and figure out my mistakes? But here's the part that nobody wants to admit. If you want to really get better at this game, you need to get obsessed. You need to get addicted, okay? Every single top player you look up to, every rank 1, every world first rater, every high-end PvPer, they all have had a phase at one time in this game where they play 24/7, okay? They woke up thinking about WoW, they went to sleep thinking about WoW, they logged on every chance they got, they grinded, they practiced, they tested, they failed, they kept going for thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. You don't need to know life forever, but if you want to compete at the top, you do need to go through that phase. You need to build a mindset where improvement becomes a daily obsession. Blame less, grind more, and just get better. It's not that hard. Let's get one thing straight, guys. You are not bad at World of Warcraft. You're just uninformed, under-practiced, or unaware of how deep this game actually is. WoW is deceptively simple at first glance. Press buttons, kill bosses, don't stand in fire, right? But at high level, this game becomes a mental chess match. You're tracking 3 to 4 different DR categories in PvP. You're simming your gear. You're checking your stat weights and optimizing secondary stats for every aspect of this game. You're positioning based on cast angles, boss timers, healer cooldowns, and group movements. In 3v3, you're trying to predict the next global or the 3 different enemies at once while staying alive and while still playing your class, right? There's many, many, many other things that we can go over in this aspect of this game, but nobody picks this up in one day. Nobody installs the game and instantly becomes a top player. You learn it, you grind it, and you fail, and then you get better. So you're not bad, you're just early in your training arc. And that's exactly how every single elite player in this game started. I reached out to some of the best players in North America, names you might know like Automatic Jack, Greg XO, Megaseth, Nax, and even Gary, one of my longtime guildies, and asked them for their honest thoughts on how to truly improve at WoW. And here's what they had to say. Number one, consistency is everything. Every season, my number one focus is consistency. I treat every key like it's a robot. Same globals, same cooldowns, same plan. If it worked in a +22, I replicate it in a +23. Then fine-tune defensives and externals from there. Dungeons are scripted. Once you know the script, your job is to execute it with precision every single time. The top players aren't improvising every run. They're perfecting and repeating successful strategies with slight adjustments every single time. Number two, watch yourself play. What really helped a lot of people improve was streaming, and not for viewers, but so they could watch back their gameplay. If you don't want to stream, use Warcraft Recorder. It's free and it records everything. You can also use OBS. After every bad run or raid pull, ask yourself, did I let someone bleed out I could have saved? Was there incoming damage I should have prepared for? Could I have helped with CC, stops, or callouts? Self-review is the fastest way to identify patterns in your mistakes and fix them. Number three, study other POVs. I'll spend an hour watching other top players do very specific fights, Candle King, Swamp Face, whatever the boss is from multiple POVs. Same for raid. I watch how raid way to world first players handle fights, where they stand, where they use CDs. Even just copying their movement teaches you a ton. Before trying to perfect their rotation, learn what top players look like in motion, how they move, how they react, and how they plan ahead. Number four, be adaptive. At the start of a new patch, I'm hyper aware of my button presses. It's easy to fall back into old muscle memory, but things can change. Sometimes your spec gets gutted or certain pulls just don't work anymore. You need to recognize that quickly and adapt. Adjust your approach or get creative. Guide knowledge is useful, but you still have to react to the patch, your comp, and your current group. Number five, execution over theory. A lot of people spend hours reading guides in tier crafting how to perfect rotations, but they don't spend nearly enough time watching how those rotations actually look like in a dungeon or a raid. I usually study Twitch streams before I even touch a new class, so I already know what it's supposed to feel like in motion. Then I read guides to understand the theory, then check logs to see what actually is working in practice, and even if it's not perfect. Don't chase perfection, chase efficiency. Learn what works in real runs, then practice replicating it under pressure. And the final note I have for you guys is consistency again. At the race to world first level, those players are in the same spot, doing the same rotation, the same cooldowns for 12 hours straight some days. They're not guessing, they're executing a plan, frame by frame, attempt after attempt. Tools like boss mods and WeakAuras just help reinforce that consistency. You don't have to raid like the race to world first raiders, but their discipline and repetition mindset is something every serious player can learn from in every single aspect of this game. If you're trying to level up your gameplay, whether it's Mythic Plus, PvP, or raiding, this is the mindset you have to develop. Watch yourself, study others, stay consistent, and get obsessed with improvement. Here's the truth, guys. Everyone hits walls, even the best players in the world. The difference is how they respond to them. So how do you deal with plateaus, burnout, and improvement walls? When you hit a plateau, don't rage quit. Just step back, zoom out, ask yourself what isn't improving. Switch focus. Don't keep banging your head against the same dungeon or arena. Watch a VOD, try a different class, play another role, get a new perspective. Track your progress, use logs, write notes. Even a 1% increase in uptime or a tiny reduction in avoidable damage means you're improving. These small things add up over the course of days, months, weeks, and years. When you're feeling burnt out, take a short break. Walk away for a little bit. Switch game modes, try farming, collecting, transmog hunting, PvP, or leveling a fun alt. And if you're a collector, check out my full completionist guide down in the description. Most importantly, don't chase perfection, just chase consistency. Perfection is a dopamine trap in this game. Trying to be flawless every single pull, every single arena, every single dungeon, that will burn you out fast, and it will give you constant disappointment, and it will demotivate you. Instead, build a routine that lets you improve sustainability. Improvement should feel rewarding, not desperate. Don't ask, was I perfect? Ask, was I better than last time? I'm going to teach you something that I wish somebody would have taught me 10, 15 years ago. Okay? And that's how to deal with a loss. How to pick post-death analysis over rage quitting. If you wipe in a key, lose 10 games in a row in PvP, or mess up your cooldowns on a boss you've killed 100 times, that's not the end, guys. That's where the real growth begins. Every time you die, ask yourself these things. Was my positioning bad? Did I mismanage defensives? Did I panic press something? Did I die with cooldowns up? Yes, even the best players in the world still do this sometimes. Now here's the move. Record your gameplay, even if it's just 5 minutes. Watch it back. You'll immediately catch things you completely missed in the moment. This is something top players do every single season. And no, this isn't about punishing yourself. It's more about turning every mistake into a lesson. Because WoW is repetitive. The same keys, the same bosses, the same PvP situations. Every single time, every single day. So if you improve even a little bit every time you repeat something, you will get better, guaranteed. If you want to build mental resilience in Mythic Plus, PvP, and even raiding, let me be blunt. You're going to get tilted. If you guys watch me play, I get tilted every single day with almost every single thing that I do in this game. You're going to lose games because someone left the key at the end last boss. You're going to wipe to the same mechanic 5 pulls in a row. You'll even watch your arena partner trinket nothing or trinket a sheep when the opposing enemy team has no pressure, and then sit a full CC the next time and die because they don't have trinket. That's all part of the process. The players who climb, the players who get titles, the kills, the high IO, the glad mounts, they're all the ones who push through the frustration without tilting into apathy. Here's how you can build more of this mental resilience. If you're getting tilted and you're in comms with your friends, just mute your mic. Tilt often spreads really fast. Don't poison your team's mental. Stop blaming teammates, alright? Even if they messed up, focus on what you could have done better. That's what you can control. A lot of people will blame other players for their mistakes or their losses. That is not a good mindset to have. Take 60 seconds between matches. Even if you're on a loss streak. Breathe, reset, go refill your water, stretch your legs, or just do something else in the game. You don't have to spam Q keys. You don't have to spam Q solo shuffles. You don't have to spam Q blitz, right? Q a couple every day. Make it a little goal of yours, like a daily goal. Hey, today I'm going to queue 2 solo shuffle rounds, and that's it. All right? You can do this with every single aspect of the game. Hey, I'm going to do 5 delves today. That's it. Go next. Consistency is key in this game, guys. Don't chase a win. Chase improvement. Wins will come if you're getting better. But if you're only playing for validation, every loss will destroy you. Okay? It's going to affect you mentally and emotionally. Play for the long haul. If you want to get better at WoW, you have to treat every dungeon, every raid pool, every arena match like practice, not a pass-fail test of your self-worth. Because when your mindset is right, every loss becomes a lesson, and every session becomes progress. One of the biggest things that I see people deal with is this thing I like to call the comparison trap. This is one of the biggest mindset traps in World of Warcraft, and honestly even in life. Every single person in here watching this video, I guarantee you, has dealt with this in their life at one point or another. This is constantly comparing your progress to someone else's. This guy got his tier set week 1. This guy got 4-piece, I only have 2-piece. They're in 2800 Mythic Plus groups and I'm stuck in 2300, spam wiping. They got Gladiator and I'm still stuck at 2200, spam losing. They timed a 20 key and I'm failing 19s with these people that are worse than me. Let's be real, guys. Comparison is a thief. It is a thief of joy. We've heard that expression countless times. We all know it. It steals your motivation, it distorts your view of progress, and worst of all, it makes you question your worth based on things you can't control. Loot RNG, group comps, invite biases, queue timings, and just straight up luck. What you're seeing is the outcome. What you're not seeing is the 15 to 20 scuffed keys they ran before that one good one. The 100 games they lost learning the matchup, learning how to perfect that 3v3 win. a month spent grinding, researching, and reviewing their gameplay. Their win is not your failure, guys. Remember, when you watch somebody, don't just judge them based off the moment. Try to learn their past and their experience. If you're always comparing yourself to others, here's what happens. You burn out faster. You feel like you're falling behind, even when you're improving. You start chasing validation instead of actual growth. And this can often hinder somebody that is actually becoming good at the game and discourage and demotivate them from continuing to improve, right? And then they can never achieve what they're actually worth in this game, how good they actually are, their peak. Instead, compare yourself to yourself. Are you handling mechanics better than last week? Are you dying less in keys? Are your cooldowns tighter in PvP? Are you rotating proper cooldowns more effectively in PvP, in Mythic Plus, and Raid? Are you reacting faster, surviving longer, and doing more damage or more healing? That's true progress, guys. The other thing you can do is record and review your gameplay. One of the most powerful and most ignored improvement tools in WoW is simple. Record yourself. You don't need anything fancy. You can use OBS Studio, which is completely free and fully customizable, or Warcraft Recorder. This is a lightweight, beginner-friendly, and automatically records your gameplay. Now, why should you record? Because it lets you see what actually happened, not what you think happened. Okay? This is two very important things to differentiate. Ask yourself, did I overextend? Did I miss a defensive? Did I panic trinket when there was no pressure? Am I standing in avoidable damage? Are my cooldowns overlapping when they shouldn't? In the heat of the moment, we miss things. We rationalize mistakes or convince ourselves that we are playing fine. Watching a clear VOD strips that away. It gives you the truth, no bias, just facts. VOD review equals conscious corrections, okay? VOD reviews basically turns unconscious habits into conscious improvements. The best PvPers, Mythic Raiders, and high Mythic Plus players do this every single week, sometimes even every single day. If you have an NVIDIA graphics card, you've already got one of the best learning tools built in. It's called ShadowPlay. This instantly replays up to 20 minutes of gameplay, records clips on demand, no advanced setup required, and it saves key movements after they even happen, even if you weren't recording. It's perfect for reviewing PvP misplays, missed interrupts, random deaths in keys or raids. Just set a hotkey and you can instantly save last fight for a review. It has way less storage and hassle than recording full sessions. Guys, heads up though, you need to clean your save clip folder regularly because it does fill up fast. You can go to the website here and download it and you can read more about it. You'll find it in the GeForce Experience/settings/in-game overlay as well. Let's talk about resources, because if you're trying to improve only by playing more, you're doing it on hard mode. The top players in World of Warcraft don't just log in and grind. They study, they research, and they use the right tools. If you want to elevate your play, you need to do the same. One of the most effective ways to improve, especially early on, is by watching high-end players on Twitch or YouTube. Guides like these, for example. But here's the catch. Don't just have them on in the background. Actually study them. Look for specific things. Are they playing your class or spec? What talents are they using? When and how do they use cooldowns? How do they move through pools in Mythic Plus? Or how do they position or kite in PvP? What's their positioning like during complex raid mechanics? What abilities or defensives do they use when a certain NPC or a certain enemy in arena uses a certain ability? This is especially useful in content like Mythic Plus, where watching real-time tank routes, healer triage, and DPS burst windows can teach you more than any written guide. Okay? Don't just copy though. Adapt. Okay? Blindly copying a plus 20 key route from someone like Yoda while you're doing plus 10s, you're probably going to wipe doing that. You don't have the same comp, you don't have the same gear, you don't have the same coordination, you don't have the same team, right? Instead, emulate their discipline. Watch how they approach pulls, not just where they go. Observe how they recover from mistakes. Take note of cooldown habits, positioning, and awareness. Then apply these patterns to your level of content and scale up and adapt as you grow and as you get into more and more complex content at your level and at your own pace. Let's talk about the actual resources and the actual websites themselves. There are actually quite a few depending on the aspect of your gameplay. Now we're just going to go over some of the PvE ones mainly and some of the completionist collector ones that I like to use. Now the number one that I always use, and I use this every single day, is wowhead.com. This is literally the New York Times of WoW. Wowhead should be part of your daily routine if you want to stay informed. It's great for patch notes, tuning changes, talent tree and rotation guides, quest, zone, and rep walkthroughs, data mine changes before they even go live, right? You don't have to memorize everything, you just have to stay aware. Knowing a spec is getting buffed next week or a new tier set is coming lets you prepare ahead of time, right? The next one is called mythictrap.com. When a new raid drops, this is my go-to. Now this is why this website is amazing. When it gets updated, it has short GIFs showing each mechanic in action. It's simplified breakdowns for every single boss, role-specific strategies for tanks, healers, and DPS. It's like a visual raid classroom, perfect for raid leaders and casual raiders who just don't want to get blamed for a wipe. This has a very easy method of teaching you the boss and teaching you every single mechanic on every single difficulty. Now keep in mind, often Mythic takes a little bit of time to get updated, but for the most part, this website is updated fairly fast. The next website we're going to talk about is arguably one of the most important websites, and it's called warcraftlogs.com. This is the most powerful tool in the game for analyzing performance. I use it by bookmarking the current raid tier for my spec, so I always have Holy Pally bookmarked for the current raid tier, which is Liberation of Undermine, as healing, right? So guys, when you're using these websites, you want to make sure, don't just blindly click stuff. Take a couple of minutes when you first get into a website and just look at everything. Just analyze everything, see all the options, see all the settings, make sure everything is checked off properly before you actually use it. I use it to check top parses, what gear and talents and trinkets people are using, and after a raid night, I'll review my logs, my cooldown usage, my buff debuff uptime. Did I use Healthstone? Did I use Health Pod enough? Often a lot of people will not use Healthstone or Health Pod throughout the night. Just use it. It helps your healers tremendously. And I also look at mechanics failed or deaths. You can also compare your run with top players, fight by fight, track talent trends by patch or week, or see ability usage in exact order from your POV. Now if we go to my character real quick, see I have it bookmarked right here. I have to organize my bookmarks. The next website we're going to talk about is WoW Analyzer. So what we can do here is we can click on any of the logs, copy the text, and paste it inside here. And it's going to automatically come up with a log analysis. And for this instance, we're going to click My Pally, and it's going to give us a log overview of this specific log. And it's going to rate our efficiency of ability usage, what we did good and what we did bad, when we used our cooldowns and all that stuff. The other this is called wowanalyzer.com. The other website is going to be whitefest.gg. This is going to essentially do the same thing, but it might put it in a more layout that you prefer, right? This has a more minimalistic layout, and this breaks down a lot more things, right? So you can, again, you can pick the player, pick myself, and you can hover over the certain abilities, and it shows you what you did good, what you did bad, and you can do this with any player in the raid. The next website is going to be lorgs.io. This website is amazing for healers, DPS, tanks, whatever. For example, we're going to pick Holy Pally, and we're going to go on Vexy. And this is going to show the highest HPS in order and exactly when they're pressing their cooldowns. So as for Holy Pally specifically, we really only have Wings and Aura Mastery. So it's going to show when they press Wings, when they press Aura Mastery. So you can plan your cooldowns ahead of time. Another website is going to be Raider.io. Now this can also come with an add-on in-game, which is very useful, and I recommend you download that as well. This is a definitive site for Mythic Plus progression, rankings, and player lookup, and even raids. This is why it's so valuable, guys. It tracks your Mythic Plus score, dungeon history, and top runs. It lets you scout teammates, gear, talents, and comps. It lets you look for a guild. It lets you look for more Mythic Plus players. It has a global, regional, and realm rank. And it filters for top tanks, healers, and DPS by dungeon. And it also has an in-game add-on that shows player scores right in LFG. What you can use this website for is to, if you're pushing rank 1 in keys, you can look at the season cutoff. We'll go to United States. So the current season 2 cutoff ended at 3804.8. So we'll just round it off to 3805. So if you got 3805 or higher IO, that means you got rank 1 title in keys. But we can also use this to look at timed run leaderboards. Now, what this helps us do specifically is determine the current meta comp towards the end of the season. So we can see that Priest is a very good healer. Our Druid is a decent healer. Resto Shaman is a pretty good healer. Holy Pally, not so much, right? Because there's only one on the top, as there's multiple specs of the others. So this will help you determine what class you want to play if you want to play Fathom, Flavor of the Month class, right? So as you can undeniably see that the best tank in the game for keys this season was Vengeance Demon Hunter. So if you want to tank and you want to do good, you'd want to level up in gear and play a Vengeance Demon Hunter. The next website is going to be maxroll.gg. This can just be used as a website where you just look up guides for anything specific that you want to do. So we can go here and we look up Frost Death Knight Mythic Plus guide, and it'll break down every single thing about it. Okay, very useful information, as talent builds, everything. Method.gg is the same exact thing pretty much. We can pick Holy Pally, for example. I often use this website actually for my Holy Pally because I like to read these things and see if I can learn something new for myself, for my class, based off these changes and based off these guides. Because sometimes we miss things, guys, and it's good to read full in-depth guides of that other good players in the game make. The next website is going to be Questionly Epic. This is specifically designed for healers to min-max your gear. It's a little bit complicated to learn, but once you learn how to use it and constantly import in-game files of your current raid setup and raid gear setup in Mythic Plus, you can optimize the most healing upgrade gear that you have in your inventory to cross-reference what upgrades you can get, what upgrades you should use, what trinkets, what gear, what embellishments, all that kind of stuff. Now keep in mind, guys, this website is a little bit more complicated, so only use it if you really want to get into the in-depth min-maxing of healing. Blood Mall is a website that shows you trinket performances, stat scaling, and theory crafting for every single class in the game. Once again, this is a little bit more of a more complicated website, but these are just tools that you can use to improve your gameplay. Raidbots allows you to sim your gear with top gear, Droptimizer, and stat weights, right? So you can do quick sims, you can do top gear, Droptimizers, advanced, all that sort of stuff. Icy Veins has plenty and tons of guides, just like Wowhead, kind of a little bit. They're often regarded as like similar websites, but they have different guides for different builds, for different game modes, for all that type of things. Wowhead, in my opinion, is just more user-friendly and more visually appealing, but I use both of them. I like both of them. The collector websites that I use this is specifically for my collecting purposes. I use completionism.net. I just like the way this is laid out. It just looks very nice. It's very user-friendly. It's very visually appealing. I use Data for Azeroth to keep track of the most in-depth rankings and top tier items that you can collect into this game. This website is extremely complicated, so once again, take your time when you're using these things and actually learn how to use them before you use them. The next one is called Simple Armory. This website is actually very simple. You can just filter through anything you have in the game, collectibles, achievements, calendars, reps, overview, all that sort of thing. And the last tip I have for you guys for websites or anything like that, guys, is to join your class Discord. Now, I'm going to have all of these links down in the description for you guys, so you can just easily click these and go to them to check them out and start using them yourselves. But join your class Discord, guys, and get involved. I'm in the Paladin Discord all the time, so if you ever have any questions, just at me in there and ask me any questions, or you can join my specific Discord and you can ask me any questions you want, and I'll usually take a couple of minutes or hours or days to reply sometimes, but I will always help you if you request my help. Join your class Discord and read what people say in there, in the class guides, in the class channels, in the guide channels, in the talent channels, all that stuff. These class Discords are made specifically for you guys to learn how to play your class and get better at the game and improve on your class. So use the resources you guys have. You can get far just by playing the game, guys, but the best players, they improve between the pools. They research, they review, they test, they optimize. You don't need to use every website that I linked in here every single day, but by keeping these tools in your back pocket, you'll be able to improve faster, stay ahead of the meta shifts, catch and fix mistakes before they become habits. Okay. Now, when it comes to add-ons and WeakAuras, if you want to improve fast in PvP and PvE, in Mythic Plus, or collecting even, your add-ons matter a lot. I've created a full YouTube guide that breaks down the 69 add-ons that I personally use as WoW's #1 collector, covering PvP, PvE, and Mythic Plus essentials, must-have tools for collectors and completionists, and copy and paste import strings just for you to easily set them up. Okay, so if you want to check that add-on guide, check the description down below, guys. I'll be uploading new videos every single tier of every single key from a Holy Paladin perspective, including updated WeakAuras, best add-ons to use, advanced tracking tools, all with import links included in the description of the videos. Now, these 2 WeakAuras are mandatory if you're a serious Mythic Plus gamer. #1 is going to be Targeted Spells WeakAura. This alerts you when a mob is casting something dangerous on you. It shows you icons on a party frame when a teammate is being targeted, and it helps you pre-wall, pre-heal, or pre-CC, or even pre-cleanse before the damage hits. This is absurdly overpowered for predicting incoming pressure and planning defensives ahead of time in high keys. You can, for example, if you're a paladin and you see, for example, in Priory, a knight casting an impale, it's going to show on your party frame, hey, this person is getting an impale casted on them. You could bop that person before the impale even hits them to avoid 100% of the damage and avoid the bleed being applied from that impale, right? This is how overpowered this WeakAura is. No wonder Blizzard's removing these. #2 is going to be cooldown tracker on enemy nameplates. This is going to add icons next to the nameplates of enemies showing key spells with cooldowns. This lets you know when interrupts are needed or are coming up before the cast even starts. This prevents group wipes by helping you pre-position, pre-kick, or pre-plan. Think of it as a combat predicting engine, so you're not reacting late, you're anticipating early and preparing to stop early. When it comes to your keybinds, they are your most important interface within the game. They're the bridge between reaction speed and execution. The first thing you should do in this game when you log on, especially as a new player, is keybind every single one of your abilities, no matter what it is. Okay? If you are pressing an ability during combat, it should be keybinded. If you do not have an ability keybinded, stop what you're doing right now, press escape, go to options, on the left hand side, go to keybindings, find your action bar you want to keybind it on, and keybind it. This is going to help you tremendously. Even if you're not used to these keybinds, just keybind them anyways, and you'll get used to them eventually. Sloppy keybinds equal hesitation, clean keybinds equals confidence, and it allows you to play the game better and react faster, depending on the situation. We're going to break down how to optimize yours in this section. Core abilities are going to come first. You're going to start with your main rotation. The spells you press constantly, bind them to your easiest to reach keys. This is #1, #2, #3, #4, #5, Q, E, R, F. These sort of keybinds. These should feel second nature. You'll be pressing them thousands of times per session without even thinking about them. #2, use modifier keys. Don't waste keybind real estate. Using Shift, Control, and Alt multiplies your options. For example, on my Paladin, I use #4 for Judgment, and I use Shift 4 to Judgment my focus target. Or you can use Shift 4 to Judgment target of target. So if you're targeting an ally, if you press Shift 4, it'll automatically Judgment whatever target your ally is targeting. Okay, so this eliminates the need for you to click the party frame of the enemy and then Judgment, and it eliminates the need for another Keybind. Control 1, for example, I don't like control, right? Control is very awkward to reach, and I like to save it for out of combat stuff, but you could keybind control 1 to mount macros, okay? So control 1 could be your mount, control 2 could be your yak, your brutosaur, whatever, your hearthstone, anything like that. Number 3 is going to be situational abilities and reaction priority. Interrupts, defensives, CC, and utility spells should go on keys that are easy to hit fast, but not ones you accidentally fat finger. So good options for these are going to be Z, X, C, V, mouse buttons, scroll wheel press, middle mouse button, modifier combos like Shift Q, Alt E, stuff like that. You don't spam these, but you need to reach them and react to them instantly. Number 4, use your mouse. If you have a gaming mouse, I use the Razer Trinity. If you have a gaming mouse, use the side buttons. Bind instance, utility, or non-GCD abilities to thumb buttons. Use scroll wheel up and down for macros like focus kick, arena target 1, 2, 3. This lets you free up keyboard space and respond faster in PvP and PvE. Number 5, movement and strafing. Never keybind left and right. Use your mouse to turn. Recommended movement setup is going to be Q and E equals abilities, not turn. By default, Q and E is, I think it's strafing. I haven't checked this in like 15-20 years, but by default, Q and E is bound to movement abilities, and so is A and D, right? You can change this to have Q and E use abilities, not movement abilities, and A and D keep it on movement, or change it to strafing. Often, a lot of players in this game will change the A and D keybind to make it strafe, not turn. Mouse handles and turning facing, right? Some players still use A and D for normal movement. That's fine, but forcing mouse use for camera control is a huge skill boost. And the final tip I have for keybinds, guys, is don't copy what I say, just customize what you like. There's no perfect keybinding setup. What matters is comfort, efficiency, and muscle memory. But if you find yourself clicking, stretching, or panicking to reach an ability, that's a signal to re-keybind that ability. Your keybind should work for you, not against you, right? So think smart and make the right keybinds. If you want to master multiple classes or even multiple specs, one of the best things you can do is use consistent keybinds layouts across them. This builds muscle memory and eliminates confusion when switching characters or roles. How I personally use can be structured like this. So my number 6 is always defensive cooldowns on every single class. The little squiggly line next to the number 1 is always an immunity or a panic button, so like turtle, bubble, ice block. My scroll press down is interrupt. This works great across every single spec. My shift E is always movement tools like divine steed, heroic leap, sprint, stuff like that. And my S is always trinket for PvP or health pot in PvE. Since you don't use trinkets in PvE, you can't use pots in PvP. This is a dual purpose keybind that eliminates redundancy. You need to customize and iterate. Guys, there's no such thing as a perfect layout, only one that works for you. Here's how to fine tune it. Test different setups in dummy sessions, PvP skirms, or low stakes keys. Season breaks are a perfect time to overhaul your UI and keybinds. Watch high-end players to see how they organize their kit specifically. Except Yoda, don't copy his UI. That thing looks like an Egyptian hieroglyphic. Revisit your layout monthly. Even I still adjust my binds as metas and playstyles evolve, guys. Bind non-combat things like mounts, food, macros, or utility keys like H, Shift G, Control X. Never leave an important ability unbound. If you're clicking it, you're already behind. Most importantly, just play the game. Practice your keybinds every day. Just logging in and running content helps lock them into muscle memory. Consistent keybinds equal consistent performance. Whether you're pushing high rating, grinding keys, or swapping alts, having a unified layout will let you focus on mechanics, not muscle confusion. What is a macro? A macro is a simple script you create in-game to combine multiple actions into a single key press. Macros let you cast smarter, cancel buffs instantly, target specific units like focus or mouse overs, combine spells, items, and conditionals into one clean button. They're one of the most powerful tools in the game, and most players barely scratch the surface with these. every macro should start with $sign show tooltip. This displays the correct icon and tooltip based on what the macro will do. All macro commands begin with a /, right? So /cast use an ability, /use an item, cancel aura removes a buff, /target equals target a unit. A big example is going to be a kick macro with focus marker, right? Now, this marker specifically is going to clear your current focus target, and it's going to, any target that you're targeting is going to put them on focus, and it's going to cancel your last focus, right? This will automatically set your focus target and mark them with a raid icon. So in my case, it's a circle. This is a perfect for coordinated interrupts in Mythic Plus or PvP. So if you want to designate yourself a circle, for example, mine is circle and keys, everybody knows that whenever I focus a target and it targets the target circle, that's my kick target. And it also does not allow other players in the group to coordinate the mark, right? So if I put circle on a target, nobody else can change it. The other thing is going to be an ice block macro. This is for mages, for example. You can do a cancel aura ice block and cast ice block. Tap it once to ice block, tap it again to instant cancel. There's no delay and no dragging the mouse. One of my favorite ones, actually, this is a very good example, is Boomkin Focus Beam macro. This allows you to cast Solar Beam and Mass Entanglement on your focus target at the same time. This will root your focus and silence them with one press. This is ideal for PvP lockdown combos. What macros can really do is cast or use spells and items, show tooltips and correct icons, target focus, mouse overs, arena 1, self, etc. Use modifier keys like shift, control, alt, and add small conditionals like only cast if the target is an enemy or alive. So for example, if we have a show tooltip /cast at focus exists kick, this will kick your focus if you have one, otherwise it kicks your current target. Macros cannot make smart AI decisions like healing lowest HP. It cannot cast multiple GCDs at the same time unless they're off GCD themselves, and it cannot add delay or wait timers except in chat macros. It does not simulate extra key presses, and it does not bypass the global cooldown. The macro conditionals that we'll talk about here, guys, is to make it smart. Use brackets to control when and how abilities are used. Common conditionals are mod shift. While holding shift, you press the keybind, it'll do something else. Harm equals enemy target. Help at mouse over equals friendly mouse over. Exist equal target or focus must exist, right? So if the target is dead, it won't work. A full example could be a cast mod shift at focus harm hammer of justice. This will cast Hodge on your focus if holding shift, otherwise it casts it normally on your current target. Some macro tips, guys, is that they can be up to 255 characters, and if you type /macro to open a macro menu, you can organize macro into account wide or character specific tabs. So if you go here, you have the general tab on the left. This will be across this entire account on all your characters, and you can do a character specific on the right, and this will only show on this character. You can save keybind spaces, reduce mid-combat mistakes, and play faster, cleaner, and more efficiently. Your UI isn't just about aesthetics, it's about reaction speed, clarity, and performance. A clean, optimized interface gives you a competitive edge in every scenario: PvP, Mythic Plus, raiding, or collecting. Omni CD is one of the most powerful add-ons in WoW right now. It lets you track any cooldown your party members have and displays it wherever you want. As a healer, I mostly track defensives, hellstones, racials like Dwarf or Night Elf. And this matters because, for example, if you have 2 party members get a debuff and only one has a racial up, you cleanse the other one that does not have a racial and trust that the other person will Dwarf racial that debuff. If your Boomkin pops Incarn and you're a priest, you'll see it and instantly PI them to help with more damage. Keep in mind, guys, Blizzard is revamping the in-game UI system soon, and Omni CD may change, so take advantage of this current power while you can. Bigwigs is essential for raiding and Mythic Plus. Here's what it does. It highlights important mechanics, adds custom countdowns, and emphasizes key abilities you want to track. So if you type /bigwigs, you can go into whatever raid boss you want. So for example, we'll go to Liberation of Undermine, right? I use this to emphasize every mechanic that can wipe your group or chunk the party in damage. For healers, you want to enable cooldowns on big AoEs or taking damage. This gives you a verbal 5-second warning to prep. Use the WeakAura that integrates with bigwigs and adds visual timers for every tracked abilities. I'll link this WeakAura down in the video description. This is going to give you a countdown bar that scrolls down of a neatly organized of whatever you check on here. So every single ability that you check on here, the WeakAura will count down until it's up. So for example, if I want to on we'll do Rick Reverb, right? No, we're not going to do Rick Reverb. That's a bad example. We'll do One Arm Bandit, right? Heal Absorb. As a healer, I want to know when the Heal Absorb is coming so I could preemptively prepare and heal it. So we're going to check it, make sure it's checked. We're going to go on the arrows over here and we're going to click Emphasize and count down. What this is going to do is 5 seconds before the Heal Absorbs come out, it's going to start counting down from 5. On 1, it's going to cast a Healing Absorb, and you know that's your cue window to start spam healing the absorbs off. In high keys, nameplates can get insane. Plater fixes this, and the Jundi's profile is my go-to. I'll link this in the description. It highlights only relevant buffs and debuffs, clears out unnecessary visual noise, and lets you customize what you see. I personally add a Consecrate debuff for my Paladin, for example. When the screen gets hectic, Plater keeps you focused on what matters. And it also color prioritizes and changes mobs depending on what they do. So if you're dealing with casters, it's going to be a different color than if you're dealing with mobs that like these. So like all these mobs right here that are red, they have no cast. They're just like melee mobs, for example. And you can also change the color by going into the Plater interface, and you can change the profile as well. Now this can be a little overwhelming here, guys, if you're looking at this, but if you just want an easy fix to this, you just go to Profiles and you import profile and you just copy the Jundi's profile and paste it here and click OK and then reload UI, and that's it. Okay, guys. If this doesn't work after you import it, you click Open Profile Settings, click Jundi's Plater, and then close, and it should prompt you to reload your UI, and then this should automatically set it to Jundi's Plater. You don't have to change anything in the Jundi's Plater, guys. He already does this for you. Okay, so once you import this profile, it's fresh out the box and you can use it like this forever. I've been using this profile for years, guys, and it's great. Now, this is why a clean UI matters, guys. It allows you to have faster reactions. It gives you important information like interrupts, CDs, cast bars. That should be near your character and not in the corner, right? It gives you better awareness. You can track DRs, enemy defensive CCs, and procs at a glance. You're not guessing. It allows you to have smarter decisions with buffs, debuffs, and mechanics clearly displayed, and you'll make faster and better calls. And it also builds a stronger muscle memory. Consistent layouts across specs and alts equals fewer mistakes and better instinctual play. It also gives you less clutter and more focus. Visual noise causes fatigue. A clean UI lets you stay sharp longer, especially during multi-hour sessions. The TLDR, guys, is a clean UI equals a competitive advantage. It gives you faster reactions, better awareness, smarter decisions, less visual fatigue, and more headspace for gameplay. Whether you're raiding, running Mythic Plus, or pushing Arena, performance clarity is better than eye candy. The goal is to balance maximum visual clarity with stable high FPS, especially during intense raid mechanics. Now, the way you access your graphic settings is by pressing Escape, going to Options, and picking the graphic settings at the bottom left. Now, I have a very, very good computer, so I will always have ultra max settings to the max on every single ability. But if you don't have a crazy computer like me, you're going to want to try to use some of these settings. Now, keep in mind, there are other videos on the internet that have much more in-depth guides of these, but I'm just going to go over some quick settings that you should have enabled. You're going to want to have textures enabled for sure, right? So make sure you enable this. This is absolutely critical. This lets you see ground effects like swirlies, puddles, boss mechanics, and more. Disabling this is like raiding blindfolded, essentially. Your textures resolution should be high. This has sharp textures that make ground effects and spell indicators easier to react to. It doesn't heavily impact performance on modern systems as well. Your particle density should be high. I would put this on high, not even ultra, unless you have a really good computer. Your particle density controls detail for visual effects like AoE spells and swirling boss casts. Reducing it too much can make mechanics harder to see. And you could also have outline mode set to high. This adds a glowing edge to units and effects. This improves visibility on busy screens, especially helpful for tracking ads or ground telegraphs. The settings you want to lower, guys, are shadows. Shadow quality, you can keep this on low. Liquid detail, you can keep this on low. Now, I like to keep it on high, like I said, guys, because I have a really good computer. Now, liquid detail looks nice, but it's not necessary for performance or awareness, and it has a major FPS sink in outdoor zones or dungeons. Shadows is very demanding, minimal gameplay benefit, and turning this down reduces FPS or increases your FPS drastically. Your environmental detail should be set to about medium, so I would put it about 5. Your ground clutter should be low or disabled. So I would keep this at around 3, 4, or even 1, or 5 if you want to be in between. And your spell density should be essential. Okay, I'm going to change that actually because this has a drastic change on your FPS drop. I'm going to change the liquid and the shadow as well, because this is going to probably drastically improve my FPS. It already changed the game a ton. It just gave me like 50 FPS doing that. Let's see. Other important settings can be vertical sync, guys. Unless you have screen tearing, you should have this disabled. This adds input lag. Avoid it unless you're dealing with screen tearing or on a capped system. Anti-aliasing should be none for maximum FPS, or advanced if you prefer a smoother character edges. This has a small FPS hit. And view distance should be set at about 5 on a medium. I would have all of these on 5 to be completely honest. Guys, test your settings in real content, not just by standing in Oribos or Valdrakken or Dornegal or wherever you chill, Dalaran, AFK, right? Test these in real content, in keys, in raid, in PvP, and see how they work for you and see if you can change them, right? See what works for you. The next topic is going to be, should I play alts? Whether in PvP or PvE, knowledge of other classes gives you the most dangerous tool in the game, which is anticipation. In PvP, playing other specs teaches you exactly how their burst windows feel, how much they rely on CC chains, or how often they're vulnerable, and how they think. You'll begin to predict cooldowns. For example, I know a red paladin is waiting to Hodge, Wings, Wake, and then Final Reckoning. I can pre-wall this or CC them during their setup. In PvE, knowing what other specs are doing during key moments helps you position, plan, and synergize with them more efficiently. For example, if you play a tank, knowing how much healing a Holy Priest can provide during a pull can help you route more aggressively. As a healer, understanding burst damage windows or meta DPS helps you plan throughput much better. Number 2 is, when you understand multiple classes deeply, you understand comp building, a crucial part of success in Mythic Plus, PvP, and raiding. Composition is everything in this game for every single aspect of this game. Playing the meta comp is everything. Most players don't truly understand why some comps work and others don't. Playing multiple specs teaches you why synergies happen and how to build around them. Number 3 is going to be stat priority scaling and class-specific limitations. If you've only played one spec, you're missing out on the entire back-end knowledge of stat scaling, DRs, diminishing returns, gear optimizations, and playstyle adaptability. Playing multiple classes forces you to learn different stat breakpoints, understand which classes scale better with first versus mastery versus crit versus haste, see how tier sets affect different playstyles in different classes, and learn how GCD lock, mobility, and uptime issues differ from class to class. This teaches you how to optimize your main even better because you now understand the spectrum of class design and how to squeeze performance from limited toolkits that you have. Number 4 is going to be high level players know everything, not just their class. Look at any World First Raider, MDI competitor, or Rank 1 PvPer. Every single one of them has played multiple classes in competitive formats, Maintain geared alts in meta and off meta specs, and learn both ends of matchups. In high-end raiding, raid leaders rely on players who understand other classes. In PvP, rank 1 players often swap comps between days, sometimes even between games and matches. You'll never find a rank 1 player who only understands their class. If you want to play at the top 1% level, you need cross-class knowledge. Number 5 is going to be rapid adaptation, guys, across all the patches that are different and all the metas that are constantly changing. Why was it constantly shifting? Class tuning happens frequently. Today you're meta, tomorrow you're not. If you're locked into one class, you're at the mercy of Blizzard's tuning. Playing alts allows you to instantly shift to meta comps, keys, or builds, and it allows you to maintain performance regardless of tuning. Learn the new tier strengths and weaknesses faster by comparing multiple specs. Your performance becomes adaptation proof. Number 6 is going to be improved decision making under pressure. When you understand what other players are trying to do, your reaction time improves. In PvP, you won't fall for fake casts or baited cooldowns because you've casted them yourselves and you understand how they work. In Raid, you'll reposition naturally based on how other specs rotate and move. In Mythic Plus, you'll avoid overlaps, kick rotation, and wasted defensives because you understand the full flow of the dungeon as every single class. Playing other classes reduces decision paralysis because you're not just reacting to chaos. Number 7, it makes you a better leader, shot caller, or analyst. Top level gameplay is not just mechanics, it's strategy. Whether you're a team player, a team leader, a raid caller, or just someone who wants to improve fast, playing multiple classes can give you a strategic clarity, a deeper understanding of mistakes, the ability to explain solutions across roles. If you're always relying on others to tell you what to do, you're capped, you're limited. Alts teach you how to solve problems and not just follow other people's commands. It also refines your main character even further. Here's the twist, guys. Playing alts doesn't distract from your main, it enhances it. You'll understand how others perceive your class, you'll see how your spec fits into dungeons, arena, or raid flow, you'll learn mirror matchups and beat people who only play one class. Your keybinds, positioning, defensive timings, and decision making will all improve. Because now you don't just know how to play your character, you know how everyone else plays theirs. If you want to be a top tier WoW player, don't just optimize your gear, optimize your knowledge. Playing other classes gives you better prediction, better awareness, better adaptability, and most importantly, a deeper understanding of the game itself. When it comes to personal advice from me specifically, and my personal end of the season and new season prep routine, guys, I've been doing this routine at the end of every WoW tier for over 15 years. Every single season I do this, every single time. Whether you're a hardcore mythic raider, a PvP grinder, or a completionist like me, this 1 week window that we're having right now, exactly, between seasons is the perfect time to reset, optimize, and prepare for the grind ahead. Here's exactly what I do. Number 1, I research class changes and stat priorities. Before the new season starts, I study all the patch notes and tier changes. I check for stat priority shifts or talent reworks, and I compare gear setups, tier bonuses, and potentially new best lists. For example, there have been seasons where Holy Paladin switched from crit to haste to mastery in raid, and players who didn't notice this were weeks behind in terms of performance, because stats are very important. If your specs priorities shift, you want to adjust gear, enchants, and gems ahead of time. Number 2, clean and organize every character that you have. I log into every single alt one by one, and I clean inventories, banks, spend currencies that are about to reset, and I use crests to upgrade gear or catalyze for certain transmogs. I spend conquest for Mythic PvP mogs, reorganize bags, professions, and check all of my alts. This is your last chance to extract any value from expiring resources such as conquest or anything that expires like crests, stuff like that, especially for collectors that want to get transmog. Number 3, study future content. I personally don't play PTR. I like going in blind. It's just more fun to me. Playing PTR or beta or alpha or anything like that takes away the fun for me personally, so I always like to go in blind and experience things firsthand as they're live. But I still read basic raid boss overviews, I still watch early YouTube previews of upcoming tiers and bosses, and I familiarize myself with new Mythic Plus dungeon rotations. You don't need to memorize every single ability, you just need to get a general sense of what's coming and how the bosses work. And remember, normal, heroic, and LFR all let you practice bosses before Mythic even opens. Use them to build real-time familiarity. It's far more valuable than over-researching. Number 4, rebuild your entire UI, keybinds, and add-ons. This is the perfect time to overhaul your entire setup because you have a week to adjust before performance matters again. Here's what I do specifically, and I'm actually doing this season. I'm completely revamping my entire UI, everything. Audit all keybinds, macros, and action bars. Remove any unused WeakAuras, especially from last season's raid or Mythic Plus. Refresh your UI layout for cleaner visuals or better positioning. Delete outdated add-ons and install new ones that you plan to test. I like to read every single ability in my spellbook as well, just in case something has changed. Right? I'll always go through every single ability and slowly read every single one at the end of every single season. I also check wago.io daily during the first week of the new tier for updated WeakAuras. Usually I check this daily at the beginning of a tier, and then after a while I switch it to I check once a month or once or twice a month. Now, number 5, your routine maintenance checklist should be like this. Update your add-ons daily before or after patch. The first couple of days of a new patch, you should honestly be spam checking CurseForge. Look at that, I just got 4 new updates. I'll just update them. As soon as they're done, I'll just reload UI. Check WeakAuras updates weekly or more if you raid Mythic, right? So you want to check your WeakAuras essentially every single day for the first couple of weeks to make sure they're up to date, because they're constantly updating and changing. Download future tier WeakAuras in advance. They often release early. So you can already download dungeon WeakAura packets and raid WeakAura packets for the next tier coming out ahead of time. And also bookmark and scan patch notes, tier set bonuses, and dungeon changes. Number 6 is to wrap up and rest. If you're a completionist like me, the last week of the season is usually calm. I try to finish up all my goals before the final week so I can relax, take a break, and recharge before diving hard into the new season. Trust me, starting fresh with a clean UI, optimized characters, and mental clarity makes a massive difference in the opening weeks. My final advice to you guys is to use this 1-week window wisely. Organize your account, clear your mental checklist, give yourself breathing room to reset, then hit the new season at full power. If you've made it this far, guys, you're already ahead of the curve. You're not just playing World of Warcraft, you're actively working to master it. This game has no true finish line, but that's the beauty of it. There's always a cleaner pull, a smarter play, and the gap between average and elite is that it's not talent, it's mindset, preparation, and consistency. Whether you're pushing high-rated Mythic Plus, raiding, speed farming mogs, pets, mounts, or collecting everything in sight, I've built this guide to help you take the next step. If this helped you, drop a like. Check out my other guides on my YouTube channel, my completionist guide, my Holy Pally guides, my Mage Tower guide, and make sure you subscribe because every new patch, every tier, I'll be breaking it all down. Want to hang out with me live or ask questions or just farm with me? Come through on my Twitch, guys. I'm live almost every single day, grinding it all out at twitch.tv/KillaKTV. Thanks for watching. I'm Killax, and I'll see you in the next one.